Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. I'm on a mission today, but then I usually am, aren't I? I have got so many scrap pieces of fabric and interfacings or stabilisers. They're just piling up in my drawers and cupboards and in bags around my sewing spaces, and I keep thinking I'm going to do something with them one day. Today's that day. At least I'm going to make a start. So what I have here is a drawer full of scrappy bits of the fusible fleece that I use in a lot of my bags, and I usually have the same type of products in each of my drawers, or each of my messy drawers that I have. So this is the one that I've got that has my fusible fleece, or the parlan that I like to use. So long bits, short bits, skinny bits and wider bits, and they're all just not big enough to use in the size of the bags that I've been making recently. So they get stacked away in here. The other thing I do with my small pieces of fabric, and even larger ones that aren't good enough to be folded up and put on my shelves, they're put into bags or just shoved into a cupboard for use somewhere in the future. Now, I've been hanging on to these, for some of them, for decades. I've got skinny bits. A lot of them are from my quilting days when I used to do a lot of bindings. So there would be small squares, half square triangles, little strips like this. My aim is to use everything, you know, even the corners from box corners when I cut out my bags. So lots of tiny little pieces of fabric. I'm going to be building fabric, and I'm going to create a new playlist around the building of this fabric. So what I plan to do is put all of the pieces together, no rhyme or reason, just completely random. I don't want to waste time thinking about what I'm going to be doing. So I'll just put all the pieces together completely randomly, sew them, iron them, sew them, iron them, and so on like that. Once I've done that, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing with my fusible fleece. Then I'm going to, when they get to bigger sizes, adhere the two pieces together, and then I'll just do some quilting along the edges where the fusible fleece has been joined. So that's my plan so far, and I'm thinking that this could go on forever. I can make meters and meters, or yards and yards of fabric sheets, all with a mixture of colours in it, and all fully stabilised, so they'll be ready just to make up into bags. I feel like I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour right now. I don't usually do that. Anyway, once I get to a big piece that's too big to manage to put together again, I'm going to start using it and making some kind of a bag with it. That's what we're going to start with today. In future episodes of this particular playlist, we're going to see what bags we can make from the building of the fabric. And as we use up that big sheet of fabric that we've made, we'll just start adding more bits of fabric to it, more bits of stabiliser, because I'm sure we're going to be finding lots more somewhere. And we can just have a continuous piece of fabric made up from a big piece of fabric. What do you reckon? Let's get started. So, whatever scraps of stabiliser you've got, get them out. Same with your fabric, get all of those out. Don't worry about matching your cotton threads, because we're going to be sewing at the bottom, and later on, because we've got so many different variations in colour. The variegated thread is good. Greys are really good as well, a bluey grey thread. It really doesn't matter. This is just a crazy fabric patchwork type of thing. And we need an ironing mat and an iron. So I've got my ironing mat that I made a few years ago. I'll just be placing that out on the table, and as I sew my bits together, I'll come and iron, sew, iron, and so on. Let's start. So I'm going to set my stabilisers aside for now, and I'm not going to bother looking to see what I'm doing with each of the pieces of fabric. I'll just grab some random pieces. I won't iron them to start with, because I'll iron them as I'm sewing, and I'll just grab a pile of them and take these to the machine and start putting them together. The one thing I will do is keep my stitch length to a short length, and I've made mine a 2.6. That way when I'm cutting the fabric later, I don't have to worry about thread unraveling so much. So again, it does not matter what you start with. I'll just put these pink and yellow pieces together. If they have salvages on them, I might move that up a little bit because I can trim that off as well. And I don't even have to worry about a perfect 1/4 inch seam either. If you've got short reels of thread or nearly empty bobbins, this is a great way to use up all of those scrap reels and bobbins. So rather than going back and forward to the iron for every single piece, I'm going to do a few pieces and then I'll iron them together. If I have long strips like this one, I can just join that to the side here. And once you've got a few pieces together, we can go and iron that. When I'm ironing this, I'm going to let the seams go in whichever direction they want to go. If I don't like this excess fabric, I'll just trim that off. Any bits that are a little bit long, I'll trim those off as well. We can use those on funny angles. In small sections across here, anywhere you like. There's no end to the things that you can do with this fabric. Just chop off any excess bits you don't want. Well, we will want them. We're going to use them somewhere else on this fabric sheet. I'm finding this to be a heck of a lot of fun. It's just completely random pieces. I'm trying not to put anything together that might work because everything should work. So I'm making some smaller patches and I'll be able to put those together as well rather than having to put big pieces on as it grows, because the aim is to use up as many of the smaller pieces that I have. So this piece here is almost big enough to attach to the piece I've already done. So once I've made that a little bit bigger, I can attach those again and then keep on building bits and pieces at a time. Okay, here's what we have so far. A nice long piece. I reckon I've got about 45 inches by 20 inches of fabric pieced together here. Just randomly, as the pieces get smaller, there are going to be lots of smaller bits mingled in amongst these pieces. What have we got? Now, this little bit here, there's just a little bit of excess. I'll just trim that straight off, and that can be used in my next fabric building exercise. And just to square it up, I'll get rid of this excess over here as well. So you can see I'm going to end up with much smaller pieces as the fabric starts to build. Now I'll set this aside and I'll go and grab the stabiliser. So what I've done is pulled out most of the smaller bits that I want to use up first. I'll keep these bigger ones because I can still use those in bigger projects. And as my fabric pieces get bigger, I can start using the bigger ones as well. So anything small like this, I'm going to place them all together. And what I'm going to do is just randomly put them together and overlap them just slightly. The reason I'm overlapping these pieces is that I have a straight stitch machine and I don't have a zigzag, so I want to sew these pieces together to rebuild this stabiliser. So all I'm going to do is add layers together like this and build that up to a piece about the size of this piece of fabric. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm making sure also that I'm only using stabilisers that are fusible, and they have a rough side and a smooth side. So the smooth side will be faced down, the rough side will be faced up for every one of these, and then that way I'll have the fusible side in the same direction for every piece, and that will be able to adhere to the fabric when we iron it together. Let's sew it up. So if I just keep in mind that I've got all my rough edges faced up, I'm not going to get into any trouble. I've increased my stitch length for this one to 3 because I'm not joining any seams that are going to be coming undone. And I'm also just using random thread colours as well. These ones are much easier to piece together as well because all you have to do is overlap them. So you can see what I'm doing here, just building the stabiliser back to one big piece of usable fabric, and I will come back and show you when this is all finished. I lost a little bit of footage here. All you need to do now, once you've built this up to a nice big piece of stabiliser, is smooth it all out and then lay your fabric out over the top of it. I've got my heat press on and I'm going to fuse all of those layers together. So there we have it, fully stabilised piece of fabric. And look how much fabric we've got out of that now, and all perfectly usable. So I can take off all the bits that I don't need. I can re-sew these together to form another piece of stabiliser and fabric. And just keep building on this like you would with a good sourdough bread. Let's consider this our starter. So there we have it, a nice colourful piece of fabric ready to be turned into whatever we can dream up. You can go and quilt this as well now, so I would probably just go stitch in the ditch right along here, and I might just do random pieces. You don't have to go and do all of them. Where you've got big pieces, you might go and stitch all around those and then leave the narrow pieces, or you might choose to go and crosshatch all of those pieces instead. Well, what do you think? All of those old scrappy pieces of fabric that I've been collecting for years, and I have bucket loads more. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, but it's one of those things where you're trying to prepare a video and you want to try and get as many elements into it as you can. And I just thought, you know what, we're going to start a new series for this. Let's build some fabric. We're going to keep on building on this piece of fabric as we go, and look, I think we're going to get probably hundreds of metres or yards out of all the scrap pieces of stabiliser and fabric pieces that we have as well. These are going to go into bag products that I have in mind. And what I'm going to do, because this is going to be a new playlist, is make products that I've already done videos for. So when I make up a whole big piece of fabric like this, we'll cut it up into something that I've already done a bag for, maybe a cosmetic pouch or something, handbag perhaps, just anything at all. And each time I make a piece of fabric, it's going to become something that I've done before. I think that's going to work really well. And the customers in the shop will love this too, because this is going to be completely recycled or repurposed fabric. Nothing's gone to waste, and that's what everybody seems to be looking for at the moment as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick little video. Was it quick? I think I talked quite a lot. Tomorrow's a big day for me. I'm going to shave my head. So I have this video that I'm going to try and get up tonight, and one more video to give you before my hair is all gone, and then we are going to enjoy, or maybe not enjoy, the new bald Christine. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do want to see, I'm going to be filming that. If you do want to see that and my cancer journey, you'll go over to the Christine's Home Affairs channel. I'm trying to keep this my happy place, and you can follow that journey over there. But tomorrow I'll be bald, and in a couple of days I'll be wearing some nice colourful head wraps. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.